It's not recorded.
Any of it?
No, it has. Just... It's a rough, tough and gruff Tom Shires.
And I am still Mike Ireland.
And this is the Shires and Ireland agenda. It's on More Music Variety, HWD, Hospital Radio? Maybe, but it's definitely on the Shires and Ireland network. And for the first time in nearly 13 years of broadcasting, we are not in Studio 1 or 2.
No, we are not. We are in an undisclosed location from which we will eventually be released.
It's Shires and Ireland on tour, but it's all about movies and more. Poet and know it.
So on today, in addition to your big three news stories, we've got our robot from the future that tells us about television.
Absolutely. Goggletron will be in the house. Whose house? I don't really know. And let's hope that Mike will stick around for this week's edition of May Contain Spoilers.
Sounds ominous.
The door's locked, by the way.
Let's start the show.
Now it's time for this week's Big Three.
So, let's get this right. By about 2030, Disney will be making live action adaptations of animated films that they haven't made yet.
Yeah, I guess, because they've got to make the cartoon first, right? That's the law.
But at some point, I'm saying they're going to get ahead of themselves.
Yeah. It's like some strange... interdimensional paradoxical thing.
Because we're expecting Moana, the live action film, in about 2028.
Yeah. Do you reckon The Rock can still play Maui?
I think you probably can. I've been hearing that a lot this week. You're welcome. Over and over and over again. And the reason we're talking about it is because it's been confirmed.
What's Disney doing this week?
We haven't put a jingle together yet, but we're thinking about it.
Genuinely, the amount that we report on kind of Disney ad and
are we the only ones that have got that? Because I really think
that was your thing. I'm trying to keep it going.
If Colbert hasn't heard it, I think we should get in touch and say cash.
Yeah, or between Star Wars live action series, I think this thing needs its own jingle, baby.
So Disney are making a live action Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was just
in a kind of Dr. Frankenstein sense that somewhere in the Epcot ball, I think probably lightning hits it, and Mickey Mouse. I can't do the voice. I'll try. It's a lot. No, can't do it.
So, just to clarify, have you been to Epcot?
Yes, been in it. Been in the golf ball.
What is in the ball? What was in the ball?
When I went, I'm sure it's changed. You were on a very kind of slow train that used to go through.
Well, it sounds exciting. Tell me more.
It was kind of animatronics and puppets, kind of a history tour, really. I think it was kind of American history type stuff, from what I remember.
Inexplicably in a golf ball.
Well, the Epcot Centre, it's kind of the futuristic zone as well, but it is also a kind of heritage type thing as well.
Okay, maybe they should branch off and do a future Crystal Maze in the Epcot Centre. It's the way to go. Let's get back to live action Hunchback of Notre Dame.
What are Disney doing this week?
It's apparently Tony-winning playwright David Henry Hwang who is going
What's he going to do with him?
What?
The Tony that he won. What's he going to do with him? Could be a lady though. Sorry, could be a lady with an I.
No, I think I can confirm it's Tony with a Y. He's going to be penning a feature that is going to be drawing on the 1831 Victor Hugo novel, but also, of course, the...
What, first edition? Going to cost you?
The 1996 Christmas presents. 1996 Disney animated movie. Which I don't think I've ever seen all the way through.
It's dark. I mean, of course it's dark. The subject material itself doesn't really lend itself to light and frothy, but it is particularly gothic.
I know that there are a lot of people who really like the film, but then really object to the gargoyles, because the gargoyles are very much in there as the comic relief, and they sort of say they take away what would otherwise be a very high-end Disney production.
Yeah, they are to the Hunchback of Notre Dame what the vultures were to Jungle Book.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair statement to make.
Apart from not Liverpudlian.
Do you think that this is a film that is going to be more of a challenge to adapt than some of the other ones they've gone for?
Well,
because tonally, we discussed it on previous incarnations of this show. Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame ends in a very different way to Victor Hugo's Hunchback of Notre Dame.
So undoubtedly, good films can be made about it because that's already happened. but any live action version is going to have that Disneyfication, isn't it? It's going to be sprinkled with that magic dust that enables mouse dust that enables anything kind of unsavoury or that's not going to be too crowd pleasing to very much
savoury mouse dust
disappear.
It's going to bring back.
You've got to send the people home happy, haven't you?
You do. You've got Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, who were the lyricist and was it
composer and lyricist
for the film. Although they also did they work on the stage adaptation, because they've said it's not going to draw from the stage adaptation. It's going to be
I don't remember there being one.
There was. I think it was briefly on Broadway. It was actually more of a thing in this country and in continental Europe, I think. And I know some people again that have said some of the songs that they wrote for the stage version were actually as good, if not better, than some of the songs from the original. Not is it Hellfire? What's the?
Oh, I don't know. I remember the Bells of Notre Dame. That's the big kind of one at the start. Out There.
And
which is the Quasimodo song.
And then there's
the Topsy Turvy.
Yes, there is.
One.
And there's
God Help the Outcasts.
So it has got some good tunes. So would you lean down that idea of we're going to do a quote unquote straighter version of the story? Because I do think if you're making an adaptation of The Hunchback of Notre Dame in live action, you can't really have the gargoyles in it, because the very reality of how unpleasant parts of that story are and the themes it deals with, I think, are negated in live action if you have jive talking gargoyles.
You know they're going to be in there, Mike. Well, up there. Out there?
Very much so. Just quick note, Josh Gad is apparently involved in the production.
Gad?
No, Jay Gad. Is involved in the production.
Jinx? Oh, it's going to be a quiet show. It's a short one. I've been Tom Shires. He can't say his name. Take care, everybody. It's all right now.
I've never bothered about the All I Do.
You owe me a soda. That's what the Americans say. You owe me a soda.
Would you drink it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love it.
May be involved as the star as well. Is Josh Gad Disney's go-to guy?
Isn't he a little bit too squeaky and cuddly?
I haven't seen him in anything, I don't think. And I know he plays Gaston's chum.
Yeah, his right hand man.
Yeah.
Obviously the voice of Olaf. I just don't know if he can do gritty, but we'll find out.
We will indeed. So expecting it to come out whenever Disney feel like it.
We need the dog agenda.
I've got a lot of fond memories of that dog. You're listening to the Shires and Ireland agenda.
Are we also assuming, just before we move on, that will be a cinema release,
Yes.
or will it be a straight to Disney ad release?
It is definitely going to be a cinema release. Thus far, I think the only of the live-action adaptations of animated classics that's confirmed as a Disney ad release is Lady and the Tramp.
Look forward to it. Now, I'm going to be busy making the jingles. Not only do we need what's happening at Disney this week, but also what's Kevin Hart doing this week, because he's busy.
Kevin Hart.
Too busy for the Oscars because...
he's too busy for the Oscars because later on this month, or certainly early February, he's going to be starting work on Jumanji... What are we calling it?
Jumanji Welcome to, that's a number.
Okay.
The Jungle.
Okay.
Because it's difficult, isn't it? Because
Welcome back to the Jungle?
Yeah, it's the sequel to the second one, but it's the second in that... Is it a trilogy, or is it the middle film of a trilogy?
I'm assuming Disney are going to sorry, it's not Disney, is it? Are going to suggest that it's
film number 3.
New. I was going to say new.
Oh, really?
Because
they spoke so much about the first film in the run up to that you kind of thought that this is actually a sequel.
I think it's going to have to move beyond that, though, isn't it, next time round? But yes, Kevin Hart isn't just going to stick to fictitious board games to star in movies of. He's going to star in a real movie board game.
Now, Battleship, the film Battleship,
which we never talk of.
Was that actually was that a Hasbro production based on the game?
In a very loose...
it was supposed to be part of the board game universe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a board game universe.
BGU.
As far as I know, this isn't setting up...
Is he going to be Uncle Moneybags?
It hasn't been confirmed who he's going to be starring in, but he is going to be playing a lead role. It's going to be Tim Story, who is a collaborator even with Kevin Hart on a number of productions. He's going to be directing. It's widely being reported. But is Monopoly the most difficult board game to adapt?
So the idea obviously, if you're not familiar with Monopoly, like how?
I've not played it.
Yeah, but you know it works, right?
I know how Junior Monopoly works.
Yeah, imagine that, but it's not about fairground rides. It's about real places.
Is it an American? Just to clarify first before you start, is it an American game that then got a British adaptation?
I seem to think that Waddington's created it, and they're a British company, but I might be wrong.
Because the way I was hearing it reported online, it seemed to me as though it was an American game.
Who was saying that? Americans?
I suppose they would.
They would, wouldn't they?
But Waddington's created it, we're assuming in this country.
Or
is it one of the Dennis and the Menace sort of things, where it was created at the same time by different people, and there was no connection whatsoever, but they came out at the same time?
Maybe. Mr. Wilson! I just think the story's going to have to be that people are buying up property for some kind of reason. I don't know whether they're trying to buy more
capitalism,
streets.
everybody.
Yeah. So I'm richer than you. I'm going to buy more streets than you. I'm going to build a hotel on mine. You've only built a house. I've bought the electric company. But the thing with Monopoly is, right, you buy the electric and the water company. Why can't you just hold everyone to ransom?
That would be different. That'd be Ransom, Mel Gibson's film.
Yeah, but it's like you control the water and the electricity, so just cut everybody off unless they pay you big bucks.
Are you saying this should be a 15 or possibly an R-rated film?
I'm just saying that I found a Monopoly hack.
A Monopoly hack. Okay. So, is Uncle Moneybags, whatever his name is, the only real character? Kevin Hart playing the dog?
Yeah, I'm pretty
The top hat?
I'm pretty sure, isn't he dragging someone along in some of the artwork on the box?
Okay.
Does he have someone by the hand, I seem to remember?
I'm getting the feeling it's going to be someone who's buying lots of property up, and that Kevin Hart's character maybe is the guy that persuades him this isn't the way to go. So maybe it's A Wonderful Life, but more acquisitive.
I'm already bored. Game universe.
Puny agenda. You're listening to the Shires and Ireland Agenda.
Another vaguely related Oscar stories, news in the past week or so, that the Academy were wanting the Avengers to present awards.
Because if you're in a crisis, they're the ones you need to save the day.
Absolutely. So I think
Please they come out in costume. I'd love it.
I assume they've contacted the World Security Council. You know, that those people who are on those shadowy screens or in that very nice glass office with Robert Redford.
I was going to say the office looks quite a nice place. Why is it they can't get lights that show their faces?
It's like you and your tablet in Studio 2. So I'm sure they've gone through there. They've said, according to the Sokovia Accords, it's fine for the Avengers to present the Oscars. And I guess it's going through. But the question is, who will be there? How many of them will survive?
So, yes.
Because the awards happens in February, which is before Endgame comes out. Yes. So actually, how many Avengers do you have to choose from? Not many.
Could the quantum realm be involved? Because I've now seen Ant-Man, everybody. Update on how far I am into the Marvel franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to get quite a few of them. I don't think they'll get all of them.
Yeah, they'll materialise, won't they?
Whether Quicksilver's coming back or not, we'll have to wait and see. Let's get on with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Because Anne Hathaway...
Do the voice.
The Grand High Witch. I don't know why I do it like that, but I do apparently.
Best witches, I think, are Scottish. I think that's the fact.
Robert Zemeckis and Warner Brothers have confirmed now that Anne Hathaway is going to be playing the Grand High Witch in...
The who?
The Grand High Witch.
You can't see the hand, but it's made by the hand. The voice is great, don't get me wrong, but the hand... exquisite.
In the adaptation of Roald Dahl's The Witches. Apparently this one's going to play a bit closer to the original novel than the 1980, I would say 89 adaptation. Yet at the same time, I've got a quote here from Robert Zemeckis saying, "We're going to set it in the Gothic South in the 1960s. It's an exciting way to put a sociological spin on this kind of witch story."
Okay.
So how is that close to the Roald Dahl book from 1973 that's set, I think, Bournemouth? Most of it takes place in. So it's a choice that they've made. But as regards the choice of Anne Hathaway, do you think it's a good one? Is it contrast with Angelica Houston? Because I think Angelica Houston always had a sort of She lent herself to creepier roles, whereas Anne Hathaway seems so positive and bubbly. Is that actually what they're doing? They're casting against time?
Yeah, maybe, but I think also she has the ability to have some fun with the role. She'll ham it up, and it'll be really good. I'm interested in what her accent is, because there's almost a kind of a European-style twang, I think, to a lot of the witches. And she's definitely done that voice in... What was it? Dark Knight Rises, does she do a... Oh no, it's her role in Valentine's Day, where she's on the phone. So she makes a living on the phone.
So you're going to channel that, Anne, when you're playing a witch, as opposed to...
Yeah, if she can do the naughty phone voice. You do yours?
Grandpa!
No, you know the phone voice.
That is my naughty phone voice. So yeah, coming out soon. As regards Roald Dahl adaptations, for you it just has to be better than Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, I mean, Wes Anderson specialises in weird, and I just did not like or read that film whatsoever. Is the Twits coming? We've been told the Twits is coming for a long, long time. So
remember, we were talking about the whole idea of a
Magic Finger?
We were talking about the whole idea, move swiftly on, of a Netflix shared Roald Dahl universe. So this isn't part
they
of
were
that.
TV projects, though, weren't they?
Well, they were Netflix projects.
Well, in the sense of that they're not feature length, they were going to be kind of shorter than that.
But I have to say, I saw BFG relatively recently, and I
can't miss him.
I did. All people do. I did actually quite like it. I didn't think it oversold itself, so that was one good thing
it was
for it.
By the numbers, I think quite low key for a giant.
Loki brings us back to Avengers.
Narrating though, apparently, not starring.
Is he?
Yeah, so it's not going to be a Tom Hiddleston star. It's almost going to be like Young Sheldon. Have you seen any of that?
I haven't, no.
Alright, so Jim Parsons, who plays... what's his name?
Sheldon.
Sheldon Cooper narrates the series, but does not... I couldn't think of his name. I could get Sheldon, but I could picture him. I couldn't get the Cooper.
Oh, right, okay.
I wasn't sure with his first name. He narrates the series but doesn't appear in it, or at least hasn't appeared in any of the episodes I've seen. It's the same for Loki. So anyone expecting to see Tom Hiddleston run around the screen will be disappointed.
To be honest, I would, given the amount of money I would have to pay Netflix for a subscription, I'd expect more.
Disney Ad. It's Disney Ad.
Disney Ad. I apologise. Yeah. I would expect to have to pay Disney Ad. I would want more than Loki just running around the screen for maybe an hour and a half.
It is a mash.
It is a movie mash.
A movie mash.
A movie mash up.
It is a mash.
It is a movie mash.
A movie mash.
A movie mash up.
It is a mash.
A family man first, a gangster second, probably an entertainer third. Tom Hanks stars in this big screen follow-up to one of the great TV successes of the 21st century, as a man on a quest for vengeance and a musical break while on the run in Berkshire.
Ooh, yeah, you've charmed me. David Brent, Life on the Road to Perdition?
Correct.
Yeah, I was going to say Road Off Perdition, no, it's Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition, yeah.
Grim film as well.
I haven't watched this, is it?
Yeah, and Road to Perdition. You set them up, I'll lock them down. Water?
But I'm assuming that's what happens in Road to Perdition as well.
There are a lot of people lying down.
When an accident causes the death of the royal family of Kafiristan, a pair of American lounge singers and rogues come up with a foolhardy plan to claim the crown and dazzle the locals, only for things to come crashing to earth in this playful period fish-out-of-water romp.
I genuinely have no idea.
About either?
So whether a royal family's fish-out-of-water crashing down to earth... Nope, you have to go again.
Okay. When an accident causes the death of the royal family of Kafiristan, a pair of American...
Is that from one of the films, Kafiristan?
Kafiristan is definitely a place in one of the films.
Okay.
It was a real place, doesn't exist anymore.
Is it really famous? Is it old?
Well, Kafiristan is quite old.
No, the film. Is the film old?
The film is, I want to say, about 73. 74.
73, 74, okay.
When an accident causes the death of the royal family of Kafiristan, a pair of American lounge entertainers and rogues come up with a foolhardy plan to claim the crown and dazzle the locals, only for things to come crashing to earth in this playful period fish-out-of-water romp. Crashing to earth is a bit of a clue as well for the older film.
Oh, okay. Crashing to earth.
Spoiler as well, actually.
Is it a plane or is it a spaceship? A spaceship.
It's not a spaceship.
Not a spaceship, it's a plane.
No.
It's a hot air balloon.
It's a bridge.
A bridge. Is bridge in the title of the film?
It is not, no.
Okay. Back to square one. But I know it's square one, but square zero.
Think about American lounge entertainers.
Some like it hot?
And a crown.
Royal.
Crown might be the big clue.
Crown, is it?
It was a film that Elvis almost starred in. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
With a crown?
Elvis, our Elvis almost starred in.
Our Elvis?
Our Elvis.
Cliff?
No,
Richards?
No, I'm thinking of the one interviewed by James L. Rackman.
Our Elvis almost starred in... I can't remember our own material.
A costume fitting for his latest picture.
King Ralph.
Yeah.
Is that what King Ralph's about? I've not seen King Ralph forever.
Okay.
So... King...
There's only mashup number 2, by the way, 4.
King Ralph...
Yeah.
No, you have to go again.
When an accident causes the death of the royal family of Kafiristan, a pair of American lounge entertainers and rogues come up with a foolhardy plan to claim the crown and dazzle the locals, only for things to come crashing to earth in this playful period fish-out-of-water romp. It's written by... it's based on a book written by a very famous author. You've mentioned one of his works earlier on in the show.
It was on Victor Hugo, I think, was it?
It was during the Victor Hugo. I think it wasn't Victor Hugo.
So it's King Ralph.
Yeah, it could be the other way around.
So it's not really Ralph something, is it? There aren't many Ralphs, so it's going to be the King thing, isn't it?
No.
So something to King Ralph. Remind me of the conversation we had earlier.
It's been adapted, I think, a couple of times. It was John Huston that wanted to adapt it for many years and was going to have Humphrey Bogart and Clark Gable, I think, as the leads.
Sun King.
No.
King. No, it was not Canterbury Crystal. We haven't talked about it yet.
No. Spoilers.
No, let's pass.
The Man Who Would Be King.
Oh.
If you thought that one was a challenge. An unexpected sci-fi western genre mashup. 4 hard-bitten veterans brought out of retirement, Eastwood, Jones, Ford and Craig, are all that stand between an extraterrestrial satellite crashing into the 19th century New Mexico. But can they put aside their past conflicts and lead a team of younger desperados and save the Old West?
Space Cowboys and Aliens.
Space Cowboys and Aliens. Save your time on that one. Okay, final one. A literary giant. A British institution. What could possibly go wrong? David Lean directs all your favourites in a revolutionary communist comedy. Jim Dale plays a poet and doesn't he know it? Barbara Windsor gets her balalaikas out, and Sid James frees his Bolsheviks off. Ooh, partisan.
Carry on, Dr. Zhivago.
Carry on, Dr. Zhivago. Congratulations.
Where's my sequel? Where's my sequel? I said, where's my sequel? Or prequel?
Who are you going to call? Chris McQuarrie.
You are, because he's been...
Doesn't want Star Wars, does he?
Is that what's been said?
Apparently passed up... Oh, was it DC?
He passed up on DC.
DC, that's it.
There'd been talk about him teaming up with Henry Cavill to do a Man of Steel sequel, because he said he'd spoken about that with him on the set, and he'd also been linked with Green Lantern Corps, because if you're making a Green Lantern film, you're going to cast Hal Jordan, who's a pilot. Who's a famous pilot? Maverick in Top Gun. Let's get Tom Cruise. Let's get the guy who works with Tom Cruise. It was one of those sorts of stories. But yes, Christopher McQuarrie is coming back to direct the next 2 Mission Impossible films, which means he'll have directed, or written and directed, 4 in total, because he did Rogue Nation, Fallout, and whichever these 2 are going to be. Which are going to be filmed back to back as well, supposedly to be released in 21 and 2021, 2022, because they don't want to clash with Top Gun Maverick, which is coming out in 2020. So, was this always going to be the case when Fallout made so much money and got such a great critical reception as well?
Yeah, but having seen the film, I was excited. Don't get me wrong, it was a good Mission Impossible film, but I remember saying, when I almost semi-reviewed it, that it doesn't hang with the best of Bond or the best of Bourne. I genuinely did not see this genre redefining action film. It left me kind of cold. in that respect. So good on them. There's going to be more of them. The cast's great. They're good-looking films. They're well-received films. They're crowd-pleasing films. But in a sense, it's a shame that we won't see those talents being lent to something that probably needs it that bit more. DC needs the help.
In a way, you would sort of say, if Christopher McQuarrie was going to leave Mission Impossible now, he would leave it on a high, whereas there is an argument.
Yeah, what else can you do with it?
There's an argument how far.
Unless you just, mates with Tom Cruise and you like hanging out with him and you want to hang out with him for a couple of years and make some films back to back, then fair enough. But what about The Flash?
What about very much so? Well, please, won't anybody think about The Flash? In terms of the stunts for Mission Impossible Fallout, I know there was a lot of people talking about, is it the Halo jump that happens, which of course had already happened in the best Bond film. How much further can they? I don't literally mean how much higher can they go, but Mission Impossible in space.
Yeah, you got the Tom Cruise rooftop sequence where you can tell where he broke his ankle when you're watching the film. Because
do you think that's the next step? Well, let's see how near to death we can send Tom Cruise.
There's a whole helicopter sequence that's very, very good. Don't get me wrong, you can't argue with the stunt work and the craftsmanship and the artistry there. But as films, all sizzle and no sausage. That's the sizzle. That's maybe what you're paying your money for and you're happy with that. But it'd be nice for something a bit more real and a bit more dramatic, because it's difficult. They're that far into these films now that they're going to become a bit samey. There's so many kind of genre conventions and the like that we just seem to be retreading ground. But hey, if people want to pay money and it still makes money, then they're going to keep making them. So stop it.
On the back-to-back filming issue, we're planning to round it off, do you think, and this is just me throwing it out there, do you think this is a suggestion that Tom Cruise might be not winding down, but thinking, I need to make these as quickly as possible now, because I'm not going to be in a state to make these forever, because he's about 80 years old, I think.
Yeah, as quick as impossible, maybe. There was always talk that Jeremy Renner would be the guy. He's not in Fallout as far as I can remember, anyway.
No.
And Henry Cavill, I'm not sure he'll be appearing. Maybe he could be back for the next two, but it'd be slightly interesting if he was. So is this a case of Chris McQuarrie taking helm of the franchise to see it out? Mm-hmm. Is it being put out to pasture? We're gonna end on a high with this kind of supersized story, because as you say, between Maverick, all the Mummy sequels, I'm sure that Tom Cruise is going to be really busy with. He's not going to have much time left for whatever it is that he does in his spare time.
I think he does things like motorcycling and throwing himself out of planes. He keeps himself busy, Tom Cruise, and he's getting paid for it.
Ray, when someone asks you if you listen to the agenda, you say yes!
You're listening to the Shires and Ireland agenda.
Who are you going to call the right man for the job?
I liked it. Well done. Christopher McQuarrie's been lined up to direct the next two. No, not that. We're talking about Jason Reitman, who is going to be directing the next Ghostbusters film, which isn't the last Ghostbusters film. They want to make that very clear. He's very complimentary towards the last Ghostbusters film, but it is not the last Ghostbusters film. Why is that? Because a lot of people didn't like it. And that was more fool them.
Absolutely. Thanks for that hot potato. Caught. So yeah, it's sequel to Ghostbusters 2. We have to make that very, very clear.
Is this going to be Ghostbusters 3 or what do we... Let's not get down the Kevin Hart train.
Choo. Excited. And the fact that teaser is official, isn't it?
Yeah, we should confirm that the teaser was released less than 12 hours that it was confirmed that the film was going to be made, which is some effort. Looked slightly different. I thought the original Ghostbusters, entirely understandably, was sort of down the line in terms of the way they were directed. This looked cut above.
Yeah, as in very usually kind of city-based films, weren't they? Whereas this is seemingly out on a farm somewhere, very, very moody as far as the trees. You have the barn.
Looked atmospheric as well.
Yeah,
in a way that the Ghostbusters films did.
So what is that beautiful car doing in a barn? Or do you think it's just a visual for a teaser, or do you think that's actually maybe integral to what's
It might not be
going on?
It might not be integral, but I would certainly think in terms of tone that's going to be the way to go. Otherwise, why film it?
Also, you might be able to remember this better than me. doesn't the Ecto 1 undergo a revamp in Ghostbusters 2 and become the Ecto 1A, or was that just for the toys?
I think that was just for the toys, because aren't Winston and Ray driving it round when they're going to their children's birthday parties?
And it's the same car?
It's the same car, I think.
Alright, so just the toys. So, because I was looking at the car thinking, that's definitely the Ecto 1 from the first film, but did they make the change of the second one, or was just that for my Kenner toy?
I think it probably was. So, first off, do you think it's a good idea to completely distance themselves from the 2016 version? Because just to put it out there, my problem with the 2016 Ghostbusters film wasn't the film, it was the idea that I thought the magic, if you want to call it that, of the original Ghostbusters films was those four actors.
It was in the performance, wasn't it?
It was in the performance and the script. It wasn't in the concept of ghostbusting. So therefore, I thought it was entirely laudable to say, let's do a female film that has got the sort of tone and attitude and could try and make the same impact as Ghostbusters. I just thought you were setting yourselves up for failure by making Ghostbusters again. I'd have rather they'd said this is going to be our version of something like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they could have found maybe another thing for those four characters to do.
Yes, because there's no denying that the four actresses that played the lead roles were incredibly talented, are still incredibly talented.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth's turn is really cool. And then you got the distracting cameos from the original Ghostbusters in there. So the fact of that film was made, it's there if you want to watch it. You don't have to watch it, but it's there. You can access it. And to say thank you very much for that, but let's make effectively Ghostbusters 3. Of course, for years it was going to be Ghostbusters from Hell, but they were going to call it Ghostbusters in Hell. And they decided that special effects wise it'd be too much to have the Ghostbusters literally enter the realm of Satan and try and sort him out. But if they draw upon any of the materials from the IDW comic series, of which I've read lots, I've got 2 of the combined volumes, then you won't go too far wrong. Because you have the idea of the franchising of Ghostbusters, you have rival companies who decide to try and get in on the act, you have world tours where naturally supernatural phenomenon aren't just,
America first?
Yeah, well it is in that sense, but they're not just located in the New York and the 5
tri-state area.
Yeah, the tri-state area, the 5 boroughs, whatever it's called. That you can go to Paris and bust a ghost, and you can go to London and bust a ghost. And that comic series hasn't also shied away from using some of the concepts from Extreme Ghostbusters, which is a very dark and very, very good animated kids show, and also has incorporated some of the female Ghostbusters from the film version. So it can be done in a way that is faithful to the original.
Because there are reports that the new film is going to focus on 4 young Ghostbusters, 2 male, 2 female, and they're going to be in their teens, and casting calls are apparently going out right now for production to start in the summer. I think that'll probably be the way to go. Do you bring back the likes of Bill Murray and what was the name of the actor who played Winston?
Winston, he is Ernie Hudson.
Yes, he is. Do you bring him back?
I think absolutely you do. I think you need that, dare I say, Force Awakens passing of the neutrino wand moment.
Don't run a bridge, Bill. Although, to be honest, if anyone was going to demand a scene on the bridge, I think it would probably be Bill Murray.
I just want to say one thing to my wife who's home. Your agenda, we did it!
You're listening to the Shires and Ireland Agenda.
Let's be honest, Eddie Murphy needs the work. And it's not just he needs the work, he needs to do something that people are going to want to pay to see.
I thought you meant he just needs to keep himself occupied, idle hands and whatnot. I was going to say, am I being too cynical to suggest that this is basically Black Panther? In that the people who behind this maybe have been talking about making Coming to America 2 for quite some time, and there have been rumours of it for quite some time. But is it that they've seen how well Black Panther has done and thought, we can do this as a comedy?
Maybe. I just worry that Eddie Murphy's time has been and gone, and it's kind of, we need a cash cow. So Dr. Doolittle's not going to do it. We maybe get another Shrek, so he might be alright. He's probably got Shrek in his back pocket, so to speak. Big pockets. But yeah, where's my cash cow? Norbit didn't do too well. Bowfinger,
Pluto, Nash?
Yeah. No. So yeah, Beverly Hills Cop, we haven't seen another one of those. Metro didn't take off as a franchise, did it? So he needs a success. I don't know if that's just an ego thing or whether it's a case of studios think that it's a bankable property still.
Okay.
But it would be a shame to almost do a Ghostbusters, if you will, and make a sequel that's not worthy of the original.
Because it's been confirmed that Craig Brewer, who is the director of Hustle and Flow and the Footloose remake, and who was
all good films,
and is working with Eddie Murphy on Dolomite Is My Name, which is a Netflix film. Well, he's going to be teaming up with Murphy on Coming to America 2. It's going to see Murphy come back as Prince Akeem, who I thought became king at the end of the film.
Surely.
I'm not sure. He went from his pampered life in the fictional African country of Zamunda to escape an arranged marriage, went to New York, to the borough of Queens, as we mentioned, could have met up with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and found love there with, I think it was a young university student before returning home to Africa. Well, the sequel is apparently going to pick up on the story, and it's all about him discovering he's got an illegitimate son who is living in America. And he's going to try and track him down. They're going to bring back all the original cast, the likes of Arsenio Hall, Sherry Headley, John Amos, James Earl Jones, and maybe even Samuel L. Jackson, who had a bit of a cameo in the original one. So, if there's an appetite for it, great, but I'm not entirely sure whether it had that huge an impact at the time.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that might serve better as one of those like Actors Studios programs where they get them all on and they all sit on a stage and like, oh, wouldn't it be great? But then you don't actually make the film.
Okay.
I think the idea of them being together is probably better than anything they could churn out.
It's round, it's purple, it shows you watch a view. It's Mike's Big W.
So it's time for us to go through the standout films.
Once again, says us, who's holding the piece of paper?
That-
It's Mike, by the way, I know it's radio.
I've just thought of something literally as I'm going through this. Some of the
You've brought the wrong piece of paper.
No, I've brought the right piece of paper, but some of the films are actually going to be on air as soon as we finish this. So
Well, that's it. That's why we also call this thing random recommendation, because it's not really about the times. It's about here are some films that are worth watching at any time.
Okay, so if you have access to
Time machine.
a time machine, or 4/7, which is the channel that shows Channel 4 programmes, but at a different time. Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, gets its premiere on Channel 4 this week. Kenneth Branagh directs and stars as...
He plays a scary Russian.
He does. Have you seen Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit?
I've got it on disc.
Does that mean you've seen it, or is it on your pile?
No, it's long since been seen. Decent enough film.
Chris Pine not obviously back for the John Krasinski-led Amazon series. Can you see why?
No,
Not necessarily a Chris Pine knock, just
No.
the film itself. Perhaps.
Shadow Recruit was a decent enough spy thriller, but I can see why it didn't make impact enough to warrant a sequel or be a franchise in its own right.
Okay. Moving on to The Longest Day, which isn't today, but which is the...
Well, when it's this link, you never know.
It probably is. It's the 1962 film that tells the story of the D-Day landings. Has an incredibly, and I mean incredibly, impressive cast with the likes of John Wayne, Henry Fonda, Robert Mitchum, Sean Connery, Eddie Albert, Kurt Jurgens, who you may remember as Stromberg from... Spy Who Loved Me, finally got that. Richard Todd, Richard Burton, Peter Lawford, Rod Steiger, Gert Frobe, who you remember as Goldfinger from, I don't remember the name of the film, Edmund O'Brien, and Kenneth Moore, directed by 7 different directors. They had different directors for the different countries and also for interiors and exteriors. So it was really the producer that was the guy that was the driving force behind the film, Daryl F. Zanuck. If you want me to tell you the story about how it impinged upon the making of Cleopatra, I will. But I get the look from your eyes that you do not. Film 4 this week. Moving on to Dr. No, if you like your original Bond films.
No.
On ITV. Let's get on with Tangled then on Channel 4 on Sunday. Is it going to be out by Sunday? It's not going to be out by Sunday. Do you like Tangled as Disney films from the last sort of 10 years?
Yeah, you've got Rapunzel with attitude. Flynn Rider's a good rogue. Some really good supporting characters in some of the other villains. Well, not true villains, but some of the other rapscallions that frequent the kingdom.
10 points.
Yeah, thank you. The idea of a princess kidnapped, living out in the middle of nowhere, and then her longing and starting to unpick that maybe the person who she thinks her mum's not. There's a lot to like, and Alan Menken once again on musical duties doing a fine job.
Is it a bit of a transitional Disney film, really, before they, in a way, we see Frozen as the one that kick-started the Disney Renaissance. So Tangled was the film you had to make to get Frozen.
Yeah, I think so, but I think Tangled, maybe, pound for pound, stronger controversial.
Okay, on Sunday on Film 4, not going to be on... No, not going to be on there. On this week, on Channel 4, like crazy. It's
Channel 4.
Anton Yelchin, Felicity Jones, Jennifer Lawrence, among the others.
It's Rogue One, isn't it?
Starring, it kind of is, yeah. Starring in this, which is a story of two college students in the USA, one of whom is American, Anton Yelchin, one of whom is British, Felicity Jones, and she ends up having to go through a whole series of hoops, not literally, to try and get a green card to stay in the United States. It's sort of
Not Rogue One then.
comedy drama, more emphasis on the drama. Also features Keely Hazel, who you can Google. Moving on.
Shall I do that now?
Check your VPN. Moving on to Mary Queen of Scots on Film 4 on Monday, 11 a.m. It's the 1971 Glenda Jackson, Vanessa Redgrave as Mary Queen of Scots effort, because of course at the moment it's Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie who are starring in the 2019 version that is getting an awful lot of acclaim.
Yeah, Mrs. Shires telling me today a lot of controversy over Mary's accent, because she's too Scottish, and they're saying that she should be French Scottish if nothing else.
She lived in Scotland until she was 6, but then France until she from 6 until she returned to Scotland, which I think was about 20. So yeah, she probably spoke with French as her natural accent, if you will. Also, quick mention of Talking Pictures TV.
Not a proper channel. Channel number 82.
81.
Oh!
So close.
I killed my voice.
Because at 12:45 a.m. and at 1:20 a.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday respectively, it's two of the greatest Shakespearean adaptations of all time, directed and starring one of the greatest Shakespearean actor-directors of all time, talking about Laurence Olivier in Henry V and Richard III, which, I mean, yes, they're on at ungodly hours, but I would recommend recording them because you don't get much better than Laurence Olivier directing and starring in Shakespeare. So there would be two big recommendations. But my Freeview film of the week...
Our Freeview film of the week.
Our Freeview film of the week. On Monday...
Freeview film of the week.
At 9 p.m. on Talking Pictures Television, which is channel number...
81.
81, correct.
Back to the net.
Is Royal Flash, which is directed by... Richard Lester, and brings together many of the people involved in the 3 and 4 Musketeer films, but it's an adaptation of the George MacDonald Fraser second Flashman book, which is a sort of rambunctious adventure romp, and it's scripted by none other than the author of the series and the author of Octopussy, George MacDonald Fraser. So I recommend that on Monday on Talking Pictures TV at 9 p.m. Never been on TV before. There may be a reason.
Welcome back. You've been leaving right now before you fall any deeper all night, Mike. Are you ready for the final round?
Please, sir, I want some more.
For tonight's grand prize, the role of UK Prime Minister, your category is Fexit. To celebrate Brexit, all you need to do is, I put celebrate inverted commas, you put Brexit inverted commas, that tells you everything. All you've got to do is name the famous film exits, hence Fexit,
very good, yeah.
From the clues I'll give you. So I need the character and the scene.
Just to clarify, when you put Fexit, have you put famous film as double F?
Yeah.
Perfexit.
Yes.
Perfexit.
Yeah.
Like it.
There are bonus points for simply getting votes, and this round may contain spoilers. The quiz ends with an overwhelming majority. Are you ready to begin?
No!
Go away! Begin. He hated the dialogue, didn't understand the movie, and was struck down in the first one. But that didn't stop him returning for films 2 and 3. or 7.
Okay, so it's Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, in Star Wars.
Yes. How's he exit?
How does he go? Well, he gets cut down by Darth Vader and vanishes into a cloak.
Indeed, he does. Or vanishes underneath the cloak into the floor. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's true. Trapdoor, anybody?
He only wanted some soil samples, but instead he went on the run from the government, got drunk, ate candy, and made a friend.
Wanted soil samples. That's the big one. Soil samples.
Yeah, they're botanists. They're a group of botanists, but one gets left behind.
Is it a superhero film?
No.
My mind keeps going King Kong for some reason, but it's clearly not.
No, much smaller than King Kong. So he goes on the run from the government because they know he's around, so they try and find him. He gets drunk whilst watching, I think it's Pinocchio.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, it's not Pinocchio. He's watching Tom and Jerry, and he gets drunk. But then, because of a connection he has with his friend starts getting drunk.
Big, is it? Oh, it's E.T. It's E.T. How does he go? He phones home.
He phones home, and then what happens?
They come and collect him.
Yeah, they come and pick him up, don't they? Dwarfs, animals, flying animals, and a con man. It was probably the concussion talking.
Con man is the Hobbit, is it? And dwarfs, animals, flying animals, a dragon. A con man, well, he's a burglar, isn't he?
It was probably the concussion talking. Dwarfs, animals, flying animals, and a con man.
It's Wizard of Oz, so she gets home by clicking her heels 3 times.
Yeah, because the hot air balloon leaves without her, doesn't it?
Yes.
With the con man inside, I think.
Yeah, but I still think the Hobbit's better.
His whole life was a lie. No wonder he finally walked out.
Is it Inception?
No. Because we don't know his whole life was a lie, do we?
Okay, whole life.
This is the person who's in
Truman. He gets in the boat and sails into the wall and then opens a magic. Well, it's not magic, it's just a door, but it looks magic.
Do you know his surname?
Truman.
Capote, was it?
I was going to say it. Burbank. Because
Truman
it's
Burbank.
set on Burbank Studios.
Yeah. We've saved the world. Fancy a boat ride?
Boat ride.
It's the third ending of this film, really.
Oh, it's it's the Return of the King. It's the Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, and they get in the boat and they sail away to the west, to Valinor.
Heaven?
It's Valinor. It's paradise, really.
Aslan's kingdom?
Oh, he's talking about. Oh, okay, right.
No, it's not. I'm just saying it's all the same thing, isn't it?
Okay, sorry.
It is definitely Lord of the Rings, yeah. This half-human, half-alien is in a glass case of emotion.
In a glass. Is it Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs?
Half-human, half-alien?
Well, she's in a glass case at the end, isn't she? Half-human, half-alien.
Is in a glass case of emotion.
Anchorman, it's Anchorman. Oh.
Well, that's a lie from Anchorman, but it's not that. There's no half-human, half-alien in
Starman,
Anchorman.
is it Starman? The offspring's half-human, half-alien.
I'm doing this with my hand.
E.T.
This half-human, half-alien is in a glass case of emotion.
Is it Spock in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, or is it Spock in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan Redux?
Interestingly, William Shatner's come out and said that Leonard Nimoy did the whole thing to leverage, basically for money. That he wanted Spock killed off in the second one so he'd get paid more for the first.
Was he doing that as he was doing?
He was.
Okay.
He'd forgotten the first rule of mass media, giving the people what they want.
You forgot the first rule of mass media. Give the people what they... he gets a drill right through him.
Who does?
Elliot Carver.
In?
Tomorrow Never Dies, the best Bond film of all time.
This bad guy was perhaps the ultimate good guy. His downfall was something slithering.
The ultimate good guy. So it's not Voldemort. It's going to be.
No, but
is it Draco Malfoy?
right.
Is it Draco Malfoy?
No.
Is it the other Malfoy?
No.
Is it?
Did not turn good.
So who turns good? So who's bad that turns good? Oh, is it Snape?
It is.
Turn good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how he dies.
Something slithering, which is clever on so many levels.
Is he in that particular house? At Hogwarts?
He's the master of that house, but it's something slithering that kills him.
Okay, I'd prefer Cook.
You've charmed me.
He's eaten by a snake?
Yeah, he's bitten by a snake that I think used to be a woman. This cockerel, Nagini, it's been explained in Fantastic Beasts.
No, I don't want anything else, thank you.
This cockerel boy never grew up because he died very, very young.
Sounds upbeat, I like it already.
Cockerel boy. He's a young lad who's got kind of a cockerel hairdo going on.
Okay. It's Rufio, he's killed by Hook.
Rufio. Just
nothing from Netflix.
No. Apparently he's remade the scene. You can see it on YouTube. He's trying to keep his character alive, ironically. And finally, he's got the power of the universe and a shiny upgrade, but he's no match for a really big hole.
Really big hole. It's something that goes into a black hole, power of the universe. Is it Skeletor in Masters of the Universe? And he just falls into a hole. That's it.
He may be master of the universe, but you, Mike, are master of this quiz, and the winner of a voice is high!
Because he just falls into a hole.
Boxes of the Shires and Ireland agenda.
Ticked.
One's Britty, one's Birdie.
Let's talk about Bird Box first, with Netflix confirming this week that they've now got 139 million subscribers. That's 8.8 members they've added in the last months of 2018, and suggestion is that the likes of...
just 8.8 members?
8.8 million members. They've just got 8.8 members. Who is that 0.8 of a member?
And are they paid the full whack, or are they just paid 0.8 of the...
I don't know. But it's the likes of Bird Box and Black Mirror, we think, that have got...
Stranger Things as well, I would have thought.
Yes,
They've drawn them in end of July.
So, does this surprise you? Is this just another sign of the way things are going? Does this reinforce the idea that it is new content that is getting Netflix people...
Do we know they're paying members?
What are you saying? Because
paying subscribers.
It says 139 million subscribers.
Yeah, so it depends, because, for example, if Bird Box hits big, which it has
big
done...
Bird Box. You need a big Bird Box.
And Hathaway, though, again. That hits big, so you take out your 30-day free subscription. Do you then count as one of these new subscribers? Because technically, they haven't made any money out of you, but then again, they probably don't need... it's not a monetary thing, is it? It's a numbers... game from the amount of people that can view their content. So I'm excited because even though some of the things that Netflix knock out aren't particularly my thing, overall the quality, production value and stars is very, very high. So if they're making stuff that's better than is on your local TV channels, then fantastic, because we want good media.
Except, do you believe that it is going to drive up quality of content on other media like terrestrial television like the BBC and ITV, or do you actually believe it's siphoning it off? Because there is an argument that the amount of money that Netflix are able to spend, I can't remember, they spent $13 billion on movies and TV shows this year, which I can only talk again from sort of Doctor Who perspective, because I'm a fan of that. There's been a lot of talk that behind the scenes people that make Doctor Who aren't happy, because they're saying we can't compete with the sort of quality that Netflix put out because we just don't have the money to do it, because the BBC have got to siphon it off into so many different things that Netflix don't have to bother about. So is that...
The overheads, if you will, have been the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Yes. So therefore, it's not that they're pushing up standards, it's that they're taking the best and putting it behind a paywall, and other people can't access it.
Yeah, but then again, if that means that Doctor Who ends up being sold to Netflix and they do a better job, then... As a Doctor Who fan, it's not a BBC thing, is it? You want quality Doctor Who, so it doesn't matter who's giving it to you.
Yeah. Just to say that the spending, as I said, £13 billion last year on new content. New content confirmed this week in terms of Steve Carell is going to be returning to a serialised format, if that's what you want to call it.
TV invert commas,
yeah,
isn't it?
with Greg Daniels, who was...
It's the Office crew, and that's I'm sold already.
Okay, and it's going to be to play the lead and obviously the driving force behind Space Force. It's a workplace comedy, which Sounds familiar. That's going to follow the day-to-day existence of the newly created 6th branch of the US military, which does something in space. Because this is the whole idea that...
there's a real one, isn't there, that Donald Trump's announced. I think the name for Donald Trump's one is better than Space Force. What's the name?
Space Force.
Oh, it is Space
It is
Force.
Space Force.
I thought it's called something else.
I think it said Space Command.
Right, Space Command,
Space
yeah.
Command. But the whole idea is it is so aimlessly and nebulously described, according to Donald Trump, despite the fact that he is now apparently cleared that yes, it's going to happen.
He's big to Star Wars as well, isn't he?
Yeah. So therefore, they've thought it's something that we can poke fun at. You think it's a viable thing? Again, if Netflix have got the money to make it, or is it just going to be
The Office in Space? I'll take it.
Well, no. Do we even know it's going to be in space, or is the whole idea that it's going to be saying this is
Trying to get it off the ground.
This is a ridiculous concept, but how do we try and make it work? That sounds like it's the way forward, I guess, because it's cheaper.
They've got my money.
The agenda has taught you well.
You're listening to the Shires and Ireland Agenda.
If there was ever a service trying to bring the best of Shires and Ireland to America, it would be the Shires and Ireland Network, because YouTube's everywhere. But if that didn't exist, then I think we would have invented BritBox.
Yeah, it's a British-made, British-dominated platform that's a streaming platform. Sorry, it is a streaming. Yeah, it is a streaming platform that is available to viewers in North America, so the US and Canada. And it's now got 500,000 subscribers, and it shows the best of British television, primarily the BBC and ITV. Shows things like Fawlty Towers, The Office, Gavin and Stacey. Absolutely fabulous. And it's also bringing in Hold the Sunset.
What?
That's the John Cleese, Alison Steadman comedy vehicle that rode off into the sunset after one series. I don't think it's going to be back. But yeah, are you surprised that this is a success? And also, we have to say 500,000 people in the United States isn't a massive number.
It's not, because we know that BBC America exists and there are outlets for British content over there. Is it just because it's not accessible? So the idea of being able to pick those up on DVD, you can't do that at your local store. Maybe importing is as expensive for them as it is for us the other way. So fantastic, because if that money is then filtering back into creating more British content, then great. But as you quite rightly point out, 500,000 is a drop in the streaming ocean. It's a drop in the stream.
It most definitely is. But is British television that distinct that it could... Well, I suppose the fact that they seem quite pleased with 500,000 subscribers suggests it is, but is it that distinct that it could support such a...
I'm surprised that a lot of the stuff actually translates. There's a couple on YouTube, and you can watch them. They're an American couple. Watch them watching British classic comedies.
Sign me up now.
And their reaction to it. And it's amazing how much they don't get purely based... They watch the Four Candles sketch, and they missed a lot of it because they can't discern the accent.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled that it does translate for many viewers, but I'm not surprised that more people aren't getting into it, because in the same way that some American comedy is quite American and niche, I think it's very much the same case of the way around.
And yet, weirdly, I would say American comedy translates probably...
It's broader, isn't it?
Look at the amount of American comedy, and look at also the amount of American drama that takes up space on British TV channels. You know, for a long time there was the Channel 5 US channel, which, you know, was entirely US programs. So clearly there's a market for it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Push his buttons and turn him on. Send from the picture to beat the motor. 900 channels watch paint on the wall. He's the hero who'll save us all. Goggletron, Goggletron, put it on, it's called a Goggletron. Goggletron, Goggletron.
So it's all coming to a conclusion later on this year, and now we know when it's going to start to begin to end. It's the 14th of April that Game of Thrones' final 8th season is going to be released in the United States, and we have to assume that Sky are going to have a day and date release in this country. It's going to be the biggest TV event ever, maybe, in terms of serial drama.
TV events still happen, do they? Events on TV.
Who knew? Also, of course, we've got the Avengers sort of series coming to an end, so it's a year for endings. And Star Wars. Any particular reason?
What, like 2019 is just
the year that these series have naturally come to their conclusion.
Yeah, until next time.
I've been Mike Ireland.
No, because it's only a pause, isn't it? I think for a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Because we know we're getting the Game of Thrones prequel series. They won't stop making Marvel films. They certainly won't be stopping making Star Wars films.
Okay. Well, the teaser confirming the date has been released, and it features entirely specifically shot footage. So it's not actually a trail that features any images from the forthcoming 6 episodes. So seems like a choice they've made again.
Indeed, and also the Russos were saying that the Endgame trailers for the Avengers will only contain scenes from the first 15 minutes of the film. So they're also being quite...
cagey.
Yeah, just to not give things away. And I think that's good because there's so much information out there and so many people willing to spoil you that, let's keep a surprise.
Well, yeah, Benioff and Weiss, the guys behind Game of Thrones, have said that if they could, they'd do it without trailers. Should we do things without adverts?
I think so.
Let's shut up then.
Until next time,
I've been Mike Ireland.
I've been Tom Shires.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Ta-ra.